Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Captain Frost, and today I wanted to talk about one specific theme, one specific topic that is quite interesting for me, at least for now, is what carries Path of Exile so hard? What is the best part of the game, or what are the best parts of the game? So recently, I've made some videos about Path of Exile 2 and Path of Exile 2 combat changes, and people were stating many different interesting things. With some of I agree, with some I disagree, but there was one particular thing. There was a couple of them, but in this video, I'm gonna talk about this particular thing. Is that Path of Exile have this combat. They all love it, and this is the main thing why people play this game. And if you want combat that is different from PoE, just go and play Diablo. Whatever, Diablo 3, 4, 2 is even kind of more similar to Path of Exile than to D3 or D4. So yeah, basically, if you want more skills, if you want classes, if you want just gameplay where there is more than one main skill, go and play D4. There it is. It's already up for you. Enjoy that and leave PoE 1 for people who want one main skill. And that made me think, do you really enjoy Path of Exile the most for its one skill gameplay? It's really a question, and that's not even the question that I would have come up with myself, because I would never think in that way. Because I know why do I like Path of Exile, and it's, even though the combat of the game is good, I like it, but it's not the main attractor at all. I love PoE's complexity, I love PoE's systems, and I love PoE's content abundance, I guess. I can say I love its thematics, I love its lore, and I'm okay with the combat, how it feels in the game. It is quite good, even though sometimes I do feel bored out of having only so few movement skills, only so few defensive skills. Sometimes meta in the game feels quite stale. And for now, I need to state one thing. I never play by anyone's build guides or something like that. Every single league, be it solo self-found or trade league, hardcore, HCSSF, or regular SSF, I play all these different styles, exception for Ruthless, and I come up with my own builds. Sometimes they are very, very good. Sometimes they are suck. They do suck, yeah, and I can't do every single bit of content with those builds, especially in SSF. But still, I have a very diverse range of success with my different builds, and I never ever play with someone else's build. I never look up for build guides or even for comparisons, because it kills the biggest part of the fun for me, sitting in pub, theory crafting the build, thinking about everything that can drop, especially when it comes to SSF playthroughs, or thinking about every single item that you can acquire in Trade League and then combine it in cool combination. And with that, I'm spending I'm spending big chunks of time just thinking, just creating, and I know what's the meta plus minus. I know which skills are good currently, which skills are considered bad, and I quite often tend to take more of a bad spectrum of skills, or just it's a coincidence that I love how those skills look or how they play, and they are bad. For example, Infernal Blow, which is not really a popular skill, Divine Ire, not Ignite version as well. I've played with Divine Ire, Castwell channeling builds. So I've compiled some things like that. So I never ever play with someone's build. And for me, it's definitely the theory craft part of the game, finding different interesting loot, and then combining it so that I can make my character even better. So it's sort of like roguelike, where in your adventure you're stumbling upon items, then you are puzzling your character, you're bringing it to life, and whenever it's done or it's almost done, and I know that I wouldn't be able to grow that much of a potential out of this character, even if it's only stuck on regular pinnacle bosses, or maybe if it's SSF hardcore, I've managed to clear all the red maps, and then I've stumbled upon guardians and I have troubles with my build, and I know that with the way how I structured the guide itself without thinking about different uniques that I've already dropped, this particular character has no potential, which means that I need to create another one, and then on that character, with all the uniques that I've found, I can go even further than that. This is interesting parts of the process. I never really enjoyed that much simply getting all the best gear on the character and then farming one-shotable content for hours and hours and hours without having any struggles on the path. When that hits, when I know that there is only easy farm ahead of me, it's kind of boring and I tend to drop off from the league, or I go and play another mode of the game, or I do another character. So basically, I never really farm content when it is trivialized with the power of my build. I managed to do something to achieve some heights of killing difficult content, and that's it. And here's when it comes, and if I were to rate from first to last the best attractors of Path of Exile for myself, it definitely would be a diversity of build potentials, theory crafting, the way how gear drops, the way how gear is acquired, the different systems that you can interact with, different choices that you can make inside the game. And the last one will be the combat itself. So for me, argument, if you want different combat, go play D4 that doesn't have any of the things that I've said here. Not D3 nor D4 have interesting systems, good loot, good ways of acquiring loot, good build diversity, interesting theory crafting possibilities. There are some theory crafting possibilities, but in comparison with Path of Exile, they're just bleak, they're non-existent almost. There is combat that I would have preferred, but still not in with how it is done in for example Diablo 4, with all the resource builders and spenders, and your one skill does 0 damage, then you have your skill that you was gathering resource for, and then that one deals damage. I don't like that. I've played World of Warcraft enough with that system in place, and whenever they've reworked, for example, Retribution Paladin, and they've made so that your resource builders deal way more damage, or they're straight up deleted, and you have your more powerful builders with bigger cooldowns, and then you have your spenders, and you feel like your every button that you press is good, and you have multiple buttons. That's when it became good. And Diablo 4 is not like that. Diablo 4 is about useless generators and hella bonkers spenders. I heavily dislike this combat either, but it's not about that. It's more about that it has multiple different active abilities that deal damage. And if they were all balanced, if they were working properly, if you had the depth behind, then okay, then it's way better than the one skill system, the one main skill system in Path of Exile. So I really don't understand how you can, I don't understand the whole reasoning behind go play that game because combat there is way more similar to what you're saying, even though the game itself doesn't come even close in comparison to the game that Path of Exile is. And how can you change between those two? It can only cross my mind that these people don't really theory craft at all, and they don't really they don't really have all the depth of the game on the first place in terms of biggest pluses of the game for them. They have combat first, and probably then it goes down to complexity and depth and stuff like that. And for that, I wonder truly why. Like, Path of Exile was never it's kind of flashiest, but not in the good term. It's kind of flashiest because you just don't see anything that happens on the ground, because you have 1 million different effects that are all spamming your one main skill, especially if you're like playing bow skills, if you're playing summoners, if you're playing some melee skills. So basically all the skills have this visual clutter, but it's not like they are the most visually differentiable, and they are the most visually interesting in terms of just how the animations feel, how animations look. For example, if you wanted combat in these terms of just being very beautiful, it probably would have been, at least for now, it would have been something like Lost Ark, that has very beautiful animations, very diverse skills and stuff like that. So yeah, and if they prefer, if the main reason why these people play the game is for it to be, and there was, to be honest, just so that I'm not putting any words into anyone's mouths, there are plenty of comments where people say that they play Path of Exile because it has one spammable button. And that's the main difference between Path of Exile and other RPGs, and that's why they fucking love it. And that's very weird for me, because the game is good not because of that at all. If you do like it because of this particular reason, in my eyes, it's something weird about this. It's just something that I can't understand, and I love PoE, but just not because of that. And I don't think that objectively the game is good because of that. That's just how it is. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you're having a good time, and I hope you're enjoying my videos. I'm sitting here ranting about stuff, and there's just a bunch of topics that I would have never think about if I was never to, if I didn't create the first video in the first place. So yeah, thanks for watching. Goodbye.